everybody. I'm pleased to say that New South Wales continues its run of zero community transmissions, and pleasingly overnight we did have nearly 12,000 people who came forward to get tested. And it's always pleasing when we see those testing rates go up. It gives us confidence that the community is responding and that people with the mildest of symptoms are coming forward and getting tested or following health advice and making sure they're isolated until they get results or otherwise until health deems it safe for them to leave their homes. It is a positive position we're in, and therefore today I wanted to reiterate that if things continue on the path they are, that from Friday week we will be reverting back to the 2 square metre rule. So any setting now, whether it's a hospitality venue or a place of worship that's subject to the 4 square metre rule, will be reverting to the 2 square metre rule. So unless there is something very unexpected that occurs between now and next week, that is what will occur from Friday week. And I'm making these comments today to provide certainty to business, to make sure that people are prepared and can take advantage of that situation, barring any unexpected shocks or any unexpected outbreaks that may occur between now and then. This means it's really important for us to maintain our vigilance, to always be on guard, but I do also want to flag that we are considering our mask wearing policy in view of the position New South Wales is in. I can say that moving forward, mandatory masks on public transport will continue. We think this gives people assurance to get around their daily business, and to also, given the fact that you're in an enclosed space for a long period of time, just to maintain that level of assurance. But if there's no evidence of community transmission, we would recommend or revert back to previous mask wearing policy, but that's yet to be determined. So whether it's a hospitality worker or a place of worship, you still need to wear a mask until at least next week when we consider that position. But I do want to stress in relation to masks that many vulnerable people are continuing to wear the mask in all settings, and that's a good thing. If you are someone who's vulnerable or want that extra line of defence, that is absolutely your decision. And of course, all of us should wear a mask if we can't guarantee social distancing. If we feel we're in an environment, or if we feel we're in a situation we can't guarantee social distancing in those high-risk indoor settings, well then we should of course be wearing a mask. But I did want to flag that the 4 square metre rule to 2 square metre rule, and also mask wearing in certain settings, will be reviewed next week with a view to announcing changes to be implemented Friday week. And I just wanted to give the community and give business that level of warning that unless there's a major issue that arises, that they can look forward to those opportunities. It's really important for us to bring the community with us. It's really important for us to respond to the risk. And if a certain period of time the health experts tell us the risk is 0 to very low, well then obviously we can make those amends with the community. New South Wales stands by its decision to make sure we don't impose any burdens on our citizens a day longer than we need to. But having said that, keeping the community safe is always our priority, but so is keeping society running as normally as possible in a COVID-safe way. And any time we can give notice and certainty to the community, we will. I want to thank everybody involved in the last month or so. It's been a huge effort by everybody to get New South Wales to where we are, and I'm pleased that obviously this year we can look forward to dealing with COVID, dealing with the pandemic, but also in view of the vaccine rollout and what that could mean for New South Wales. I'll now ask Dr Chant to give her update, and then we'll take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier. So New South Wales recorded no locally acquired cases of COVID in the 24 hours to 8 p.m. last night, and there were 2 cases acquired overseas, bringing the total number of COVID cases in New South Wales since the beginning of the pandemic to 4,925. As the Premier has indicated, it was pleasing to see testing levels up, with around 11,816 tests performed to 8 p.m. last night. As complementary to our testing, we also have been expanding our sewage surveillance system. And last night we did receive a detection of in that sewage surveillance system in the Island Park sewage network, which serves about 88,000 people in the Liverpool catchment in southwestern Sydney. The catchment takes in suburbs of Cecil Park, Bonnyriggs Heights, Green Valley, Len Waters Estate, Hitchinbrook, Hoxton Park, West Hoxton, Carnes Hill, Hornsey Park, Edmondson Park, Bardia, Denham Court, Leppington, Glenswood Hill, Glenfield, Casula, Prestons, Varronville and Austral. Now, whilst we have got some cases that have recovered that are living in that area, those positive detections do call us out to call for the community to be particularly vigilant. So anyone with symptoms in that community, please come forward for testing. We are going to need to have the community continue to present for testing throughout the coming year, so it is critical, and I want to thank the community for their response. Thank you.
Yeah, I have to stress that singing and dancing is still considered too high risk in the current environment, so those activities will still not be allowed, and clearly we'll take advice from health on those specific venues. But in terms of the vast majority of hospitality venues as we know them and places of worship as we know them, they will definitely be reverting back to the 2 square metre rule, and we'll provide further advice on those other increasingly high risk areas.
What about the caps on weddings and funerals? When they will do those caps?
At this stage, that's not in our consideration. At this stage, what is in our consideration is reverting from the 4 square metre rule to the 2 square metre rule, and leaving weddings and funerals as they are.
Why is that though, Premier? Why would you need the 2 square metre rule versus weddings and funerals?
Because presumably when you attend a wedding or a funeral, many of the attendees know each other, and the risk of transmission in an emotional setting remains high, and we have to be alert to that, and that's based on health advice.
Just in terms of universities, they're again saying that they fear they won't be able to start their recovery in 2021 because of international arrival caps. Is there any update on the plan to start bringing in students?
Well, obviously National Cabinet meets on Friday, and these issues will be discussed. But the federal government's indicated their priority is returning Australians back home. A number of states have raised the prospect of international students. It's ultimately the decision of the federal government, and their priorities, as they've indicated, is that they want to prioritise returning Australians, and no doubt that will be discussed on Friday.
Do you expect the international arrival cap to be upped on Friday?
Well, as we've announced previously, all states took a pause from January 15 to February 15, so that's already been in the works. That the understanding was that after February 15, states would revert back to our initial cap. So New South Wales has been on 1,500 for the last couple of weeks, and until the 15th of February that's the case. But it was certainly the understanding of National Cabinet, unless there's a change in policy or a change in decision, that all states would revert back to their previous caps. But I would also argue that some states can do a bit more of the heavy lifting, and I would prefer that occurred as well.
Can we get an update on how the vaccine rollout is proceeding and what we can expect?
Well, that's really a matter for the Commonwealth Government. So we are also awaiting information from the Commonwealth Government on what we can expect and when. But I do want to say this: it's always been the policy of the New South Wales government and our health experts to make sure we provide any information to the community that we have. I've said on a number of occasions that when it's my turn, I'll make sure that I get the vaccine. I think the more people that get vaccinated in a timely way, the better it is for our response to the pandemic.
Okay, we'll leave that.